today we were going to just dive in and talk about like how to stay consistent in a market where sometimes you feel like the things that you're doing are maybe not yielding the same results as they might have the past couple of years. I mean, I know in Charlotte, we still have a ton of sales. Like houses are still moving, but it's just not at the same capacity that there's just not as much to move. There's
Yeah.
a lot more agents and there's just not as much inventory to move. So I think sometimes we get a little frustrated feeling like we're doing all these things, but we're not really feeling it.
But number one, the reason why it's crucial for you to stay consistent, even when you feel like you're struggling and nothing is happening, you're building trust, right? Number one, you need to stay consistent, because consistency in your work, you're in doing that, your service and communication, it builds trust with your clients. So when you're, helpful, you're proactive, your clients are more likely to see trust in you, and they're more likely to refer you to other people when they see you consistent. And that's the thing. When we say consistent, I mean every day showing up online, making those videos, doing the calls, tracking your daily habits. That consistency matters because it's building trust. Even when you feel like people aren't watching, they're not paying attention, they are, I promise you. Like we talk about this all the time, that we can't count how many times in our business over the last decade to 2 decades, yes, we've been in the business very long, that clients have reached out to us. We didn't even realize they were paying attention, right, Lauren? It's like,
Yeah.
you show up and you're consistent and you're doing the things. Lo and behold, they end up reaching out and they end up saying like, hey, I've been following you, I've been paying attention, we're ready to make a move, or hey, we're kind of wondering what kind of equity you have, hey, is it a good time to sell? And you're like, wow, those people never liked anything, they never commented on anything, but they just literally told me they've watched every single piece of content and video that I put out there. So it's kind of hard sometimes to track your metrics.
Yeah.
When there's people out there that aren't even engaging in your content, but you're being consistent enough that they're listening, they're paying attention, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think not only just to build trust, showing up to build trust, like that kind of leads into creating that reputation and continuing to build your reputation, because being consistent in your business and online and with your marketing shows your client that it's not just a hobby, right? This isn't just a hobby. This isn't just something that you popped in because we had a great market and deals were falling in your lap and you just thought it was going to be easy HGTV money. No, like you're building a reputation that you are a professional in this industry and you're going to show up no matter what, and you're going to pivot no matter what, and you're going to figure stuff out. And ultimately, that's going to attract the type of clients who value quality and reliability over quick deals. So,
Ooh, that was good, over quick deals, because I think at the end of the day, some people don't believe that we work as hard as we do, that they don't believe that, we've earned our commission, which we have. And we
right.
do, right? Because we're not out there for that quick commission. We're here to build a business. I think that was good.
Yeah.
So we've got our first 2 points, right? You're building trust when you're staying consistent. You're building your reputation when you stay consistent. And the next point that we want to make is you're establishing yourself as an expert. So consistency also shows that you're really knowledgeable, you know your market. It's an opportunity to demonstrate that you understand what the market is doing, that you're able to pivot, like Lauren said, even in a slow market. So you're establishing yourself as an expert when you're showing up consistently, because here's the thing, and I want to talk about the elephant in the room. So many of you are not doing videos and you're not doing stuff consistently because you're like, well, Sally down the road, I just saw she closed 6 deals this week and I have no deals in the pipeline whatsoever, so I'm just going to give up. But the thing that you don't realize is you're seeing a ton of real estate agents all across the country, and you're seeing their content and their videos because you're friends with a bunch of realtors across the country. But your average person in your market, your average consumer, your average client avatar, they're not following thousands of agents across the country. They're maybe following 1 or 2, 3 locally in your market. And if you're the only one that's consistent and showing up, even in the slow, markets, you're establishing yourself as the expert, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. We compare ourselves to all these other agents that are doing all these reels and TikToks and video content. and doing stuff consistently, and you're like, well, I can't keep up with Sally, so I'm just going to give up. No, that's wrong, you guys. Like, you got to stay in the game. You got to keep your head in it, even in a down market, because that's when the experts are born.
Mm-hmm.
Experts are born in the down market because you're digging in and you're doing the work and you're staying consistent, even when you feel like giving up. But you're establishing yourself as the expert when you're showing up. So stop comparing yourself to Sally, who's doing 3 reels a day, and focus on yourself and your business and what you can do to establish yourself as the expert in your local market, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. And that's just like the next point is just to be reminded that this is a long-term thing, right? For those of us that have been in it for 20 years, which is crazy to even say out loud. Yeah, I know that's wild. It is. It's a roller coaster. And like all those feelings that you have of like, I'll just be totally transparent. Every January, I'm like, well, that's it. I'm giving up. I've sold houses to everybody that I know. And who am I going to sell to this year? Like, honestly, that goes through my head every January. And then I'm like, wait a second, Lauren, you've done this for almost 20 years. Like, get out of your own head. But I think so many times because we are self-employed, because it is ultimately up to us to make it or break it in this industry. But at the same time, like you have to realize like you're going to have small wins. You're going to have big failures too. You're also going to have big wins, right? And small failures. Like it's a whole thing. It's a journey. So remembering that it's long-term success can help you kind of in these markets really like dig deep into those relationships that maybe you didn't have the bandwidth or the capacity to maintain over the past few years. I mean, that's just the reality of it, y'all. Like when you're selling at a super high level, those of you that have sold 50, 60, 70 homes a year, and your heart is, because I'm speaking from experience on this, your heart is to stay connected to your clients and continue those because you love your clients, right? But you're going to get to a level where you're selling so many homes that it's physically impossible, honestly. It's impossible to maintain the same kind of relationship with your favorite clients year over year when you're adding 50, 60, 70 deals a year. You're going to look back after 5 years and how do you maintain 250 relationships at a really high level? It's hard. It's really, really hard to do. Hard. I would say it's almost impossible without systems, honestly. I think without systems, that type of clientele is almost impossible. But use this time that you've had, this first half of the year, go back and if you have your systems and you've tracked where your leads are coming from, right? Dig into that top tier, dig into those people that are sending you business, those people that you can pour into their business and build those reciprocal relationships. I think having that mindset, this is a long game and I'm going to continue to build these relationships, even though they just bought from me 3 years ago. They're probably not going to sell or buy for another couple years, but that's okay because it's full circle, right? They know other people that are buying and selling real estate. So just try to be mindful of that and remember it's not just always about the next deal. It's hard. It's hard. Like it is, but I think you just have to really dig deep and just remember that it's a long game thing. And if you want to be here in 10 years, it's those relationships that you build that's going to keep you there.
Ultimately. Yeah, because it's that long-term success that we're talking about, right? We all know it's the long game. So those who stick with it consistently and work hard when it's slow, they're going to be the ones that have all the balls falling in their lap when the market does pick up. So I think that's the important piece. Like you hit the nail on the head. That over the long term, I focus on that, and at the end of the day, like most agents are not going to have the same sales volume this year that they had the last 2 years. And if that's you, that's okay, you guys. Everyone and their mama was buying and selling real estate the last 2 years. Everyone and their mama was telling everyone and their mama that it was a good time to buy and invest when interest rates were sub 3, I think that's the thing we need to realize is this is when you dig in. This is when you have super long-term success is right now when you're consistent, when it's not as easy.